Thanks everybody for attending today. My name is Howard Murphy, Business Development Manager for DB Computer Solutions. I'm very happy to say that I'm joined by Martin Connor from CIM Software, who will be giving us an overview of Cim50 integrated with Sage 50 and what it can do for the production process in your business. So since Sage discontinued their own manufacturing modules for both Sage 50 and Sage 200, CIM Software entered a partnership agreement with Sage for Cim50 to be recommended replacement for Sage 50 Manufacturing. Cim50 enhances the existing modules already within Sage 50 with its own works orders, scheduler, planning, and shop floor data capture modules. I'm sure I missed a few there as well, Martin. You could probably pick up after that. But using those modules allows your company to efficiently manage inventory and complete visibility and offer more streamlined processes on your factory floor. So from DB Computer's perspective, we've been working closely with Martin and the team at CIM Software and replacing some of the older Sage manufacturing solutions from both our Sage 50 and Sage 200 base over the last number of years. From these efforts, we've built up a team in DB Computers that can install and configure CIM for new customers with the backup of CIM Software themselves. So I'm a proponent of just getting straight to it and showing you exactly how the system actually works. So with no further ado, I'm going to bring in Martin here, who will now take us through Cim50 for Sage 50. Thanks, Martin.
Thank you, Howard, and thank you for inviting me along today to showcase our Cim50 manufacturing solution. Okay, let me just get my screen there. Okay, so without further ado, I'll give you a quick run through of the Cim50 manufacturing solution, which is fully integrated with Sage 50 accounts, and I will be able to show you some of that integration today because that's one of the Cim50's unique selling points is when compared to any other manufacturing solution. Okay.
Martin, just to jump in for just 1 second, just to remind people as well, we're recording the session. We'll send you a copy of it after. If your screen isn't big enough, if you click on view, choose focus on content, or you can choose more options and a view full screen that will give it to you as well. And also feel free to drop any questions in the chat or Q&A, and we'll pick up towards the end of the session anyway. Sorry, Martin, go ahead.
No problem. Thank you, Howard. Okay, so the Cim50 solution and the Sage 50 solutions run in their own windows with their own set of access rights. Okay, we keep them separate, and as I said, it's fully access right driven. I've got both solutions open today. I don't have to have them both open for them to integrate. They just need to be installed on the same computer. So if I start in Cim50, then we've got it's a modular solution, as Howard mentioned. I've got all of the modules available to me except for the shop floor data capture, which has a separate login. And is a cut down version of the Cim50 solution, but what we're going to be focusing on today is the sort of the core modules of stock control, bills and materials, planning and MRP, materials requirement planning, quotations if you're a one-off manufacturer, okay, works orders, instructing the shop floor, and the scheduler. I may show you some of the dashboards as we're running through today. Okay. When I'm here on my home screen, we've got news and things like that, so we keep up to date with latest versions of Sage, which is really important. So as you go to update your version of Sage, we will have a Cim50 version which is fully compatible with that. That is part of our agreement with Sage as being a Sage accredited solution and the recommended replacement for Sage 50 manufacturing. So if I start in stock control, all of your products, if they exist in Sage 50 accounts, are migrated across to Cim50 and are available for you to update and amend. You can carry out any stock transaction within Cim50, and that transfers across to Sage, okay, and vice versa. Okay, so you make a change in Cim50 on a description that appears in Sage, make a change on a description in Sage on a product, that will find its way into Cim50. They are fully integrated. As we can see across the top here, we've got the various features available to us. All of these, as I said, are access right driven. So if you only want to give a user the ability to view stock codes, then that's all you provide them with. Okay, or you may want them to just view works orders. That's all you provide them with. Okay, or you can have all of the features as I've got here or something in between. So quite important for a business to control the security across the solution. You've got the ability to filter, sort and search for data across the whole Cim50 solution. So if I just do a quick example of that, very similar to the way that you would do it in Sage. And this data set that I'm using here today is office furniture. So if I was to pick on a material, some timber oak here, we can see that we've got values across here, quantities in stock, allocated, they might be reserved for something. We don't know as yet, giving us a free stock figure because we've taken away the stock less allocated to give us a free stock figure. Quantity on order, we've got batch trace. This is a batch traceable item. Okay, so Sage 50 accounts has no concept of batch or serial number traceability. Cim50 brings that to the party if that's a requirement for your business. Okay, and what that means is that if you mark an item as traceable, it's selective, as you can see. We've got an item which is non-traceable above. It will prompt you to record batch or serial numbers or generate those for you, depending on how you've set up the product. You can also record things like expiry dates. You can attach documents and a whole host of additional information that you may choose to do so because we've got custom fields. Okay, so we've got some quantities here in on order and in stock and allocated. So if I wanted to interrogate that a little bit further, again, something you're not able to do in Sage, what we tend to do with Cim50 as well is fill a number of the gaps in Sage 50 that do frustrate users when they're using it. I just want to know, you know, what makes up those figures. We give you that functionality. So I'm into my profile here. We can see that we've got those headline figures at the top here, and we can see that there is a purchase order due tomorrow. And just to show you the level of integration that we've got, if I click on view order, okay, Sage 50 will come to life, and because I've got Sage 50 open, I can drill down into that purchase order in Sage. Okay, so with Cim50, we retain all of the accounting functionality as you would expect, and we retain the sales orders, the purchase orders, and the products within Sage 50. Okay, but we just integrate with those. And Cim50 uses all of that data when it's doing its calculations through the MRP. Okay, from stock control point of view, it's all taken into account. So just showing you the level of integration that we've got between the two systems. Okay, it's not a solution where we imported and exporting CSV files. This is real-time integration with Sage 50. So what else can I see in here? So I can see that I've got some a works order that needs some of this. So 190 required, 90 allocated. So that's where that figure's coming from. Okay, and there's 100 outstanding. And surprise, surprise, I can drill down onto that works order, okay, within Cim50 and see all of the details against that. So due dates, quantities, more about works orders in a bit. If I move through to the profile, we can see a running balance. So quite useful to be able to see, you know, what's the stock position going to be in the next few days or weeks or months even, depending on what commitments you've got within your system. So we can see that we've got 20 on order, 100 going out, going to leave us at 230, which is above our reorder level. Okay, and reorder levels are quite important because if you take the planning module, it will look to maintain those reorder levels for you, sort of like a safety stock, if you like. An example of one of our dashboards here in the stock profile is that we've got some OTIF figures at the top here, on time and full figures, for purchases, sales orders, works orders, and quarantine. We do have a quarantine area if you wanted to take advantage of that. So we can see number of receipts, percentage, OTIF percentage, late receipts, average days late, short receipts is all recorded. We're capturing that data as we're transacting through Cim50. Okay, and the system will build these types of dashboards for you. And we can see here a cost variance report. So we've purchased this item from a couple of suppliers. We can see one's quite erratic and one remains quite static. Stock history, again, just showing you the level of integration that we've got with Sage 50. This is reading from Sage 50. Any stock movement that you do within Cim50 is written to Sage 50 and is accessible to view within Cim50. Okay, Sage 50, you still do your stock valuations, your movement reports and all of that good stuff, because that just takes care of it. But what Cim50 is doing is every time you carry out a transaction, we'll be writing that to the Sage 50 stock history. So what we might want to do is do a few things. So let's go off and receive some goods. So if we remember, we've got that timber. I can search by order number, okay, or by product code. So if we go timber oak, I didn't necessarily need to know the order number, because suppliers are notorious for not putting their our purchase order number on their paperwork, but I can search by various means. I'm going to receive 10 of those. You do have the option to book items into quarantine. You can say that for this item, I always want it to go into a quarantine area, so it doesn't get used within the production side of the business until it's passed and it's been inspected and moved out of that quarantine area. We can get alerts popping up in different areas of the solution to alert people to specific information and tasks. This is a batch traceable item, which is auto generated, but I can record supplier batch numbers, certificate numbers. I can put it into a bin location if I wanted to. Okay, I can record additional information if I needed to, and have custom fields. I've also got the ability to attach documents. So maybe I want to attach a picture of that material as it came in the door. Okay, that will stay with that batch. Okay, and be available to people further down the road as well. There we go. There's my picture of the material as it came in the door. That could be anything that you want it to be. It could be a test certificate or a specification, anything that you want it to be, a drawing, as long as you've got a viewer and you've got access to the file. So if we confirm that, we can see if there's any jobs that need that. So what we're trying to do here is give people in certain areas of the software that sort of 360-degree view that, and in this example, I'm receiving goods, I might be bobbing goods inwards, and I might want to know what jobs are out on the shop floor that need this material, rather than putting it away in the stores and somebody coming back to us in a couple of weeks' time and go, did that timber come in? Oh yeah, I booked it in and I put it over in the stores. Oh, if I'd known that, then we could have, got on with that job a little bit earlier than we anticipated. So if I receive the goods, what it will then give me the option to print a goods received note. Completely optional, can be laid out how you want them to be laid out. Okay, so there's just an example of that. And because I've told it to do so, I can also print labels as well. Okay, and this is just an example of a label with a barcode on it. Okay, because that will get utilized by our shop floor data capture module. Okay, so if you wanted to utilize a shop floor data capture module, we obviously need to label every item and every receipt with a barcode. Okay, so that we can then scan that when we want to book it out, maybe to a works order or dispatch it against a sales order or stock take it. We need to be able to identify that using a barcode. So this is where it starts as it comes into the business. Okay, and also I've told it the system is a rule-based system. Okay, you can set a number of settings within the system to get it to behave in a particular way to suit your business needs. And in this instance, I've asked it to pop up a box to ask me, do I want to allocate this stock to a works order that needs this material? Okay, and I can from there, but I'm going to cancel out that because I want to show you that a bit later on. So that's goods receipt, lots going on there. If we go into the stock item, we can see the fields that are available to us to get the system to behave the way that we did. We wanted it to print labels. Okay, we've got all of the fields are available to you from Sage are available in Cim50. Okay, but what we generally say is that you use Cim50 for updating stock code because there are additional fields that Cim50 has that Sage doesn't. So there's no reason why you shouldn't use Cim50 to create and amend stock codes because you've got all of the fields available to you. So just to give you a quick flick through financial information. Is it traceable or not? We do have the ability to have multiple suppliers with their own part numbers, lead times, minimum order quantities, cost prices, and you can start to see our carbon footprint calculator coming through. So we can enter kg CO2 equivalents for the materials that we buy, which will then get used by our carbon footprint calculator to calculate the carbon footprint of manufacturing your products, because you can also feed in your fuel and energy bills. Units of measure. We have the ability to have multiple units of measure, so I might buy and stock in each, but using meters. I might want to add millimeters, centimeters, inches, foot in there if I wanted to, or it might be that I buy a box of 100 screws and use them in each. Okay, so that we tell the operator that on the shop floor that they need X number of screws, not part of a box. As I said, rule-based system, so lots of fields for you to complete to get the system to behave in the way that you want it to behave. Okay, this is primarily for the planning module so that it comes up with the recommendations to suit your needs. Okay, so we can do things like aggregating demands together, so we're not placing an order on a Monday and a Friday, grouping quantities together so that we're not, placing lots of separate orders, those sorts of things. Okay, alert, that's where that popped up. We can attach files. There's lots of additional information. One quite useful feature within the system, and that is available within stock control bills and materials and works orders, is the audit log. So if I make a change to a product, okay, so maybe I'll change the barcode field, go back into that item and go to the audit log, we can see that the barcode field has been updated by myself at 12:18. Okay, so that's true of bills of materials and works orders as well. Who did it, when they did it, and what they did. Stock history is available and traceability. Okay, the batches which are in stock for this item. You can see historical as well. So that's a stock record. Say you can copy them. There's traceability inquiry. So if traceability is important to you and you needed to maybe search for a batch based on a supplier's part number because they've been on the phone and said that they've got a problem, then you can find that and you can view all of the detail and history against that batch. So full traceability. We can carry out any stock movement within Cim50, and in the latest version we've added the ability to do multiple item stock movements, so you can build a grid and do that all in one go rather than one at a time. External, we've done receive. I'll come back to dispatch a bit later on. Quarantine is where we can book items into quarantine and we can inspect them, move them back to free stock, or we can scrap and produce a returns note for items which have not passed our inspection process. We also have a stock take functionality. So if I can build a based on all items or specific items. I'll just do this for all items. And if I want to, I can print a count sheet. So we can distribute these to people on the shop floor, to the stores, and go off. People can go off and count those items, and we can also export that to Excel if we wanted to. Okay, and this is in the exact format that it needs to be imported back into Cim50 to update those figures. Okay, so it saves the rekeying of data. Maybe somebody goes off with a tablet or something like that with Excel open and start entering these figures. Whilst we got the items in the stock take, it's not going to allow us to do a stock adjustment. So if I come and update the count, you can see that I've got the ability to import those figures. So I could import that spreadsheet back in. I'm going to do it longhand. Don't worry, I'm not going to enter all of the quantities here. I'm just going to do the one. I'm going to say a reason. Okay, and that's been recorded. You can see a variance. There's reports, stock valuation variance reports for you, before and after. I can save the progress if I want to, so I could go off and count some more items, come back. But if I'm happy that that has taken place, I'm going to update that and I'm going to complete it, and I'm going to ignore all the uncounted items because I'm entering this stock take by exception. That's now gone to history. Keep all the history within Cim50, so it's easy for people to review and see exactly what happened and who did it. And if I just clear this and I update the sort by the free stock, there's the 399. Stock history has been updated. Okay, just to show you, if we moved across to Sage and we go into the products, sort by quantity in stock, the 1399 has been updated, and we look at the activity, just sorted in a different date order. There's our stock take from today. Okay, that was updated instantly. There's no import, export, or anything like that that needs to be carried out. So hopefully shows you the level of integration that we've got. So that covers off stock control. Reports are more about traceability and performance reporting. We let Sage take care of valuations and movement reports. Moving on to bills and materials. If you're a user of Sage 50 accounts, you may have your bills and materials in Sage 50 accounts, and it's quite difficult to identify those items that have bills and materials. So what we've done is we've separated out the bill of material records from stock items. These are our own bill of materials because we can go a number of steps further than the Sage 50 accounts bill of materials allow, such as unlimited number of components, unlimited number of sub-assemblies, and the ability to add operations, okay, with run times, labor costings, machine costings, subcontract costings, tooling costings, setup costs, you name it, it's all in there, okay, to allow you to build a cost which, again, you're unable to do within Sage 50 accounts. If I pick on a bill of material and look to amend that, we can see that we can get back to the stock code. So again, just showing you the level of integration between the system and modules. We've got ability to enter manufacturing instructions, mark a bill of materials a kit, so we build it on dispatch. We don't have to have a works order. The components, so we've got a list of components, so we can see here that we've got some color coding for sub-assemblies. So we make some legs, we make some draw sets, we make some top oaks, and we can drill down onto those bills and those sub-assembly bill of materials and see those components. Another way to be able to drill down through the bills of materials is with our explosion. So we can explode our bill of material out, okay, and see it in a tree view. That's from the top down. Okay, I can also do it from the bottom up. So maybe I want to look to see where the plywood sheet is used. Okay, it's used in the draw bases. The draw bases go into these draw sets, and the draw sets go into these various finished items. Okay, so it's like a sort of indented where used report, if you like, but interactive on the screen and live, because the report is always out of date as soon as you've printed it. So back to our bill of materials. So components, we've got our components, quantities, units of measure. We can set scrap percentages, fixed quantities if you want to. A lot of flexibility. You can have specific instructions against a component. You can link it to an operation. Operations, we've got run times, okay, setup times and costs, labor costings, machine costings, tooling costings, and if it was subcontract, it wouldn't have any of that. You would assign it to a subcontract supplier, okay, or subcontract manufacturer or processor, painting, plating, that sort of thing. Okay. All of those can be set up in registers. So once they're predefined up in the registers, you can then just draw those down into your bills of materials. So you're not having to reinvent the wheel every time you create a bill of material. You can attach documents and drawings to your bills of materials. They will flow through to works orders. So continuing that integration theme. Costings. So last time I cost this bill of material, we've got a costing. So if we cost this again now, okay, based on the latest cost from our system, we can see here that we've got a material cost, a labor cost, a setup cost, a machine cost, subcontract, tooling, overheads, a unit cost, because this was all based on 100, but a unit cost of £50.19. And I got a kg CO2 equivalent estimate as well. Okay, so to make 100 desks is 793 kgs of CO2. Okay, based on our, our fuel bills and the values that we've been provided by our suppliers. You can break that down further, so we can analyze that, get some nice pie charts. We can analyze it right down to component levels, right the way through the bills of materials. So the values in brackets are the sub-assemblies, and right down through the operations as well. So we can see individual machine and labor costings, subcontract costings for particular processes for manufacturing our desk in this case. Okay, so there's a painting operation there. That can also be printed out. That's always retained. You can see that some date back to 2024. So you can see that data and review it. Analysis codes, pretty much every single area of the software has its own set of analysis codes or custom fields. You can set these up: text fields, numeric fields, date fields, booleans, and you can have a selection list behind. And there's our audit log. So again, if I went and maybe changed the quality standard, save that, go back into it, audit log has captured that information. So I've got some stuff which is later than today, so because it was I've just restored my data, but there is the change there, okay, that we've just carried out. So that's the bill of material record. We do have the ability to trial kit our bills of materials, so a bit like check bomb in Sage 50 accounts, but this goes a step further. Gives you a huge amount of additional information, so free stock, shortages, what's on order. You can drill to the profile if you want to. You can trial kit multiple items at the same time, so it's like a mini MRP. And a new feature in this latest version of 2025 is you can also trial kit sales orders. Okay, so we can see that 2 sales orders there. Off I go and trial kit, see if I've got any shortages. No, I'm good to go with both of those. Okay, it's just a quick look. It's not a substitute for the planning and MRP, but it's a really useful tool because we can, if we want to, get ahead of the game and raise purchase orders and works orders for any shortages. And if you're not ready for the planning and the MRP module, then this is a step towards that. Okay. We can also max build, so we can say how many can I make, so I don't have to keep entering values into the trial kit to find out. I can just ask the solution. I can build and reverse build, so this is like transfer in Sage 50 accounts. But what we can also do is we can reverse build, and when we reverse build, it will put the components back into stock, take the finished item out of stock. You can either do that for a bomb build or an item that you put into stock. So you might buy something that you sort of cannibalize and take the components out of it, and you want to put the individual components into stock, and it gives you the option of choosing the quantities. Explosion and implosion we've looked at. Costings we've looked at. It just gives you the ability to cost from the list view. Reports, you've various reports, indented parts lists, where use reports are all available to you within the reports area. Okay, so bills of materials is for people who are repeat manufacturers. If you're a one-off manufacturer, you may benefit from the quotations module. What the quotations module allows you to do is to build a quotation and almost like a bill of material on the fly, okay, without creating stock codes, without creating bills of materials. So you're not clogging up your system, okay, with bills of materials and stock codes, which may never come to anything. Okay. You also have the ability of creating quotations for non-stock items that may come to something, and you can then convert them to a works order as a non-stock item because you know that it's never going to be a repeat item. Okay. So lots of flexibility there. So if I go into create a quotation, it can be for a customer or prospect. A customer will read from Sage, okay, a prospect, it will just ask you to enter the values. I can pick up on the delivery addresses from Sage, I can add delivery addresses, I can amend them. We can set dates, due dates, follow-up dates, discounts. Nobody gives discounts, don't know why I mention it. Products, we can build a product, so I'm going to put test in there. The system has recognized that we haven't got a stock item. Do I want to create it? I'm going to say no because I don't want to clog up my stock records. And I can enter a quantity. It's a non-stock item. I can come down here and enter quantities, cost prices, markup percentages, all of that good stuff. Or what I can do is I can go and configure that item. I've got the ability to build it from scratch, and again I can enter stock items and non-stock items, or I could copy in a bill of materials. So it might be that I'm going to base it on our oak desk, but in this instance it's got 6 legs, okay, just for this occasion. Okay, they've asked for a 6-legged oak desk. Okay, so I can now save that. Do I want to retain the price? I'm going to say no. So we've got a cost price, a markup percentage. I've set a default. We've put some discounts in there, but what it might be that I may want to play around with these. I might want to get a 33% margin on this, okay, or I might want to mark it up by 50%. Okay, I can play around with that, or I might want to say, actually, I want to get it to £50. You know, I'm in control. Okay. You can also add service items, so delivery charges, admin charges. You can cost that. You can see like a profit and loss for the quotation. You've also got the ability to add as many items as you want. You can also add price breaks as well if you wanted to. So you could say, right, I'm going to quote for 100 as well, and play around with that. Maybe give them a, you know, further discount or something like that. Okay. You can attach documents to the quotation, so they might send you an invite to tender or some drawings, that sort of thing. We don't claim to be a CRM solution, but we do give you the ability to add updates. So you might have had a call, something like that. Okay, we can record that against the quotation, and again, analysis codes, custom fields. So if I save that, you do have the ability to print that. And because I've got price breaks on there, I'm going to show you the price break one with the price break on there. Okay, again, can be laid out how you want it to be laid out with your logos and to suit your needs. So with that quotation, we don't want to mark it as lost. We want to take it forward. You do have the ability to turn it into a sales order, turn it into a pro forma. Once it is a sales order, you have the ability to create works orders for that item and create purchase orders for shortages if you wanted to, okay, at this early stage. Okay. Alternatively, what we can do is we can come back into the quotation and go, well, actually, this is going to be a repeat item, and I can convert it to an item and then update the bill of material if I wanted to. Okay, so we could turn it into a repeat item. There's also the option to come back and put some more meat on the bones if we needed to, because you might have just done a sort of a very sort of generic quotation at this early stage, and you can come back in, reconfigure it, add items, take items away, to really make that accurate before we moved it forward. Okay, so that gives you a good idea of what the quotations functionality provides if you're in that type of industry. Going to move back to planning now, and just take you through the stages here. Both these stages can be automated. So the first stage is to read the demands, and those demands are sales orders, reorder levels. As I said earlier, we maintain the reorder levels from Sage. Make to stock, finger in the air. I want to make some because I know best. Works orders. So we want to consider works orders, demands from works orders, and sales forecasts. So if you're a type of business that maybe you work with, multinationals or supermarkets, something like that, they may provide you with a schedule, and you need to manufacture against that schedule, but you don't dispatch until you get a firm order. But if you waited for the firm order to come along, okay, you and until you started to manufacture, you'd probably be too late because they haven't given you enough lead time. So what the sales forecast allows you to do is to enter those figures into the system, manufacture against forecast, and dispatch against sales order. The system will net off sales orders against forecast, so you never make double. You just manufacture or purchase the higher of the two. I'm looking 6 months into the future, and you can see that it's found 7 sales orders, 1 make to stock item, but it's not been included. No sales forecast. I'm not muddying the water today. Reorder levels, 4 of those, and works orders, 8 have been included. 8 have been found, 3 have been included, 5 have been excluded. So we found 4 reorder items below their reorder levels today. There's our sales order lines, a mixture of sales orders, so the sales order with 2 lines there, and some works order components. Okay. If I'm happy with that list, I could carry on, but I also might want to look at the exclusions, so I can see that the make stock hasn't been released to production. There's some non-stock items in there. There's some items which have been issued, so that's why they've not been included. But it's all visible to you. Moving along to the MRP, and I'm going to run the MRP. Both these processes could be automated, so you could say, right, I want this to run at 6 o'clock in the morning and for it to be ready for you when you come in, but I'm doing this longhand. So we can see here, we're still looking 6 months into the future. We're aggregating the demand, so that Monday, Friday thing. We're looking at all replenishments, and we're looking at all stock items. But if I wanted to, I could be specific about particular sales orders if I wanted to. I'm going to look at all items. Off it goes. Generally runs in a matter of minutes. This one's in a matter of seconds. Okay, and we can see here that we now have a number of items to manufacture and a number of items to purchase. Okay, few things going on here. So we've got the demand date, so that's when we need this mahogany desk. We've got the order date, so that's when we should be placing action this to raise the works order by. Okay, so we need to manufacture, so we need to raise a works order. And we've got the receipt date. So I've put some settings into the system to say I want to manufacture my items a day before they're needed. So that's what the system has adhered to here, and it's told me that if all being well, it should go into stock by the 6th of November. We're also taking into account reorder quantities and the rules that we've set up. Okay, so we need 25 of these, but because I've got a reorder quantity set of 50, okay, for this item, it's recommended that we make 50 of these. Okay, so as I said earlier on, it's a rule-based system. You set the rules, it will adhere to those rules. What we've also got over here on the left-hand side is tags. So we can see down here that for sales order number 7, okay, we need a teak desk, we need some drawer sets, and we need some locks. So similar to the bills and materials that we were looking at before, the drawer sets go into the teak desk and the locks go into the drawer sets. But even the locks at the lowest level of the bill of material are still referencing sales order number 7. Okay. If I go to the top of the list here, we can also see that we've got multiple. So sales order number 7 appears in 2 other recommendations. That's because we've set some aggregation rules. So it's saying, right, when they're a week apart or some 5 days apart, group them together, and that's exactly what it's done here. Okay, so these are further apart, so we've got another 5-day window, so that's why we've got the 2 recommendation rule-based system, and it will look to work to those rules. If I sort it by stock code, we can see that we've got 2 recommendations for the locks. I could, if I want to action those separately, I would end up with 2 separate purchase orders. I could action them together. I'd end up with 1 purchase order with 2 lines with 2 different due dates. Or I do have the ability to combine them together myself if I felt that, you know, it's fallen outside of the aggregation that I've set. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine them. You can also split recommendations as well. So if you found that you could buy some from one supplier and they only had certain number in stock, but then you have to buy some more from a different supplier, okay, the remaining from a different supplier, you can split recommendations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to action the 2 together to produce 1 purchase order with 2 lines. Okay, so I've got purchase order number 20 here. If I go to Sage, didn't need to have Sage open for this to happen, happens behind the scenes. I then have a purchase order with 2 lines with the 100 on each, but with different dates. Okay, a week apart. This just behaves as a normal purchase order in Sage now. You can print it, email it, do whatever you want with it. I can amend it. I could add items to it. If I reduce the quantity and I reran MRP and MRP felt that there wasn't enough, it would recommend that you buy some more. Okay, it will take care of that for you. So if I do exactly that, if I now go and run the MRP, that purchase order will be taken into account as a replenishment. And we now no longer have any locks as a recommendation, okay, because we've taken care of it. It will appear as a replenishment. So these are all of our replenishments. So there's our replenishment. So if we wanted to make sure that we had those on order without actually leaving Cim50, we can see that information. It also appear in stock control in the profile, that sort of thing. Okay. So if I move back to recommendations and maybe pick on one of these recommendations here, so maybe this oak desk, which we're familiar with from the bills of materials, and I action that recommendation. Again, you can change the dates, you can change the quantities, you're in control. With purchase recommendations, you could choose a different supplier if you want to. Again, you're in control. We now have a works order for this manufacturer recommendation. And if I go to works orders, you will see that we have a works order number 17 for our oak desk for 100 due on the 23rd of October. So what can I do with this works order? I can print it. We've got a quick preview. This is again another new feature. So you set the default layouts, what you want to print. There's up to 6 layouts that can be printed. I've chosen to print 3 of them. So I've chosen that I want a label. So again, a label, works order number, stock code with a barcode on there, so the shop floor data capture module can do it. While we're talking about shop floor data capture, I like to refer to that module as barcode anything. Okay, so goods receipts, dispatches, adjustments, stock takes, issues to works orders, completions of works orders, you name it, it's in there, as well as being able to book actual labour times. Picking list, again, it's got a barcode on there. Okay, what that's showing is a barcode for our works order, and we can see the components, and we've got the ability to record quantity picked and who did it. And then we've got a route card. So this is for the shop floor. Same information at the top here, works order number, dates, sales order that we're making it for. And again, a barcode for each operation so we can book on and off of that operation if we want to as an employee. So back to my works orders, what else can I do is I can trial kit my works orders. So have I got any shortages? So I'm Bob on the shop floor. I can see if I've got any shortages. I don't need to run the MRP. I can see if I've got shortages for that item as it stands. I also have the ability to allocate stock to the works order. So I don't have to allocate. Just to say, you can go straight to issue. You don't have to issue. You can backflush works orders as well. It will complete and issue the works order in one process. But we put the control points in if you wanted to use them. So that's now allocated. That's reserved the stock for our works order against those stock items. So they've come out of free stock. We then have the ability, if you want to issue stock, which can be either done by stock code or by works order. If we do it by works order, it would be just for the works order. If we do it by stock code, we can issue the same item to multiple works orders that need that item. So we're not having to go in and out of multiple works orders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to issue the stock. You can reverse issue, you can reverse allocate, you can reverse complete a works order as well. Okay, I'm going to go issue as much as possible. And what the system has now done is it's recognized that some of these items, or if not all of them, are traceable. So it's asking me to confirm the batches that I'm using to fulfill this works order. That's now issued. And what I now get is a work in progress valuation that you can provide to your accounts department. Okay, so they can then carry out the necessary journals. If you didn't want to do it that method, we also have the ability for those journals to be done automatically for you. Okay, but that's something that you can sort of discuss with the team at DB when you're implementing the system, and whether you want to switch that on. It is completely optional. Okay, what else can I do with the works order? You do have the ability to scrap components if you want to do and reissue. We do have a level of capacity planning in here. This is just rough cut, so it's just saying how much are we using of a particular resource and what's taking up that. We can book times if we want to, actual times to our works orders. We can process subcontracts, so you've got the ability to raise a subcontract purchase order, send the goods out with an advice note and receive them back into work in progress, and then invoice match the invoice that you receive from your subcontractor against the processes that they've carried out. So that was rough cut capacity planning. Okay, we've also got a scheduler. Okay, and if I just drop into the scheduler as well now, okay, we can see this is a module that's been around now for 2 years. Okay, yeah, around that. So one of our newest modules, and what this provides you with is a graphical representation of the production running through your factory. At the top of the screen here, we've got it broken down by works order. Okay, due dates, the sales orders and the customers that these works orders are for. Okay, then we've got the works orders broken down into individual operations. We got some color coding in here. So yellow means that it's an at-risk works order. Green, it's going to be completed on time, and this burnt orange color means that it's late. Okay, we reserved red for these this area at the bottom of the screen here, because we've broken it down by resource, and red means that there's a conflict or overload. Okay, so what the graphical scheduler allows you to do is to overcome these conflicts, overloads and bottlenecks. So the first thing that I might want to do is maybe sort of move some of these jobs over to the left to overcome that being at risk. The blue means it's a subcontract operation. This one's late, so maybe what I want to do is I want to move this over to the left to maybe get this to turn green. Okay, and what I can also do is maybe do this, and because it's a sub-assembly that's tagged or firm linked to the it's a finished item, sorry, and with a sub-assembly, they're firm linked together. I'm not able to pull that any further left than the finished date of the sub-assembly. So I've overcome that. I've dealt with that. I've got green blobs against that. Have undo, redo buttons. You can do what if scenarios. You can download and upload the data from Cim50 and back to Cim50. Okay, we can also overcome the conflicts and the overloads down in the bottom part of the screen here for our resources. You can group resources together. Okay, if I'm grouping together, it doesn't allow me to put a drilling operation onto a saw. Okay, but I can move it onto another drill. If I've got just one resource, okay, it might be that I can't overcome that. In this case, I can. Oh no, it's going back. So what I need to do is maybe move some of these around to overcome that. Okay, I've now moved those operations around to overcome that conflict and overload, whilst still maintaining the correct end dates to fall within the due dates of my works orders. Okay, so you can continue to work your way through that. So I've overcome all my conflicts and overloads and bottlenecks, so I could push that back to the Cim50 solution. Okay, so back to Cim50 then. I've now maybe been working on this works order and I want to complete it. I'm not going to book it into quarantine because we've already seen it. It will do a check against the items to ensure that you've issued enough material. So I can make the full 100 in this case. I can complete short, I can overmake if you've got it set that way. It's recognized that this is a batch traceable item, which is not auto-generated, so I can record that. Still have the same ability to be able to enter sort of attachments and further details. Another label popping up because I've told it to do so. It's recognized that this is sales order number 6. So again, just continuing that integration and that sort of automation of processes. So I'm going to allocate the stock. That's now completed that works order. The oak desk is in stock. And if I move to stock control, I've got the ability within Cim50 to dispatch that item. And because I chose to allocate those items, it's created a picking list. This is another new feature that we introduced to our Cim50 solution. Okay, and is a picking list function. So I can print a picking list, I can amend the picking list, I could change the quantities on there. I could give that to the warehouse to go and pick the items. Again, can be laid out how you want it to be laid out. If I'm happy that those items are going to be dispatched, I can then dispatch that picking list, and what that will then do is it will turn it into a delivery note. I can give it some information about how it's been packaged, the courier that it may be going with, some courier information, and print that documentation. Delivery note again can be laid out with your logo and how you want to see that, and you can have as many of those as you want. You still have the ability, if you want to amend that delivery note, so you can change the delivery address, quantities, that maybe change the batches that you're going to dispatch. You're in control up until the point that you say, yeah, I'm going to update that to invoice. That's now generated an invoice in Sage. So if I pop across to Sage and look at our sales orders, sales order number 6 has been delivered complete. Our oak desk, dispatch 37, nice and early. And if I go to my invoices, there's my invoice. This will now behave as a normal Sage invoice. You can print it, email it, do what you need to do with it. The only thing that's changed really is we detail the sales order number and the delivery note number above the line, because what we've got the ability to do is on delivery notes is combine multiple sales orders onto one delivery note and combine multiple delivery notes onto one invoice, so cutting down on the amount of paperwork and transactions that drop into your accounting solution. That pretty much wraps it up there. Just a couple of things just to make you aware of. We do have the ability up until the point that you invoice a delivery note, is you have the ability to return those items to stock. Okay. You also have the ability to amend a purchase receipt in Cim50 as well, which you can't do in Sage. Okay, and you also have the ability to over deliver a purchase order in Sage in Cim50, which you can't do in Sage.
Martin, I was going to ask you as well, could you just show us the work to list just for a second?
Okay.
I don't think we delved into that.
Yeah, so within the works order module, we do have the work to lists. Okay, so what this can be, you can do with this is you can filter and sort. So if I'm responsible for a particular resource, I can see the operations and the works orders which are going to be coming through my area on what date. Okay, and what it's worth mentioning as well is that when you move operations around in the graphical scheduler and you upload that back to Cim50, once you're happy with that, okay, it will change the dates within the work to list. Thank you for Howard for reminding me about that one.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's always great when I see an updated version of Cim50, being honest, because there's always something that I pick up from it each and every time. You know, we talk to people inquiring about better stock control, and you know, you can see how tight the integration is here. That sync is so tight with it and Sage 50, and it's a stronger, more efficient kind of stock control that you have over the items, particularly in the production side of things. The quotation feature looks stronger than ever than what I've seen before, and even though it doesn't have that you know, CRM capacity, you have the ability at least to track some activity around it as well. You know, just to sort of stay on top of it. Just to give anybody a chance to sort of enter any questions before we actually finish up. While we're doing that, just to you know, look at a couple of things there as well. So what's interesting is I wanted to see that work to list and some of the other elements of the scheduler as well, particularly as we've had some customers ask about flagging different stages, you know, sort of looking at where we are with any one particular job. One thing I meant to ask you as well is that if people are using the projects module in Sage 50, does it reflect in any way there as well?
Yes, it does. So if you've got the projects solution switched on in Sage, okay, you have the ability to issue stock to a project. So that's quite useful if you've got traceability switched on, so you can maintain traceability for the items that go to get issued to a project, and you can also link works orders to a project.
Gotcha.
Okay. And when you complete the works order, there's the option to automatically issue the items that you're completing from that works order to a project.
Very good. And in terms of the likes of quality control as well, obviously we saw the documents area, the attachments area where you can add these things on.
Yes.
Are there any ways in which you can sort of flag at the end of any given sort of works order, you know, stop, check, qualify, or just quality control?
Yeah, so you can mark an item that it goes into quarantine. Okay.
Gotcha.
And then what it will do is it will drop into the inspection area before and to be inspected before you move it on to free stock, and that's optional by item.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, look, I mean, I think from everything I'm seeing there's an awful lot of good stuff. We do have a question there. I don't know if you have access to that as well, Martin. So it comes from Niall. Could you run through pro forma payment options in Cim50, prepayment to manufacture, pay before dispatch, link and tracker on Sage, etc.? I'm not sure if that's managed within
It's
CIM
not
or
within
Sage
CIM50. That
50.
would be Sage.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that element of it can be simplified on the projects module for jobs anyway. I know that much. It's a matter of hammering through, the exact process to which they work with, but it is more a projects type feature, which you can tie
Yeah.
in with it anyway, at least.
Yeah. So
Um,
all the financial side of things is taken
yeah, it's
care
all
of by
Sage.
Sage. Yep.
Yeah, and we can help you with that on our side. And the nice thing is, of course, if you're working with Sage 50 already, you already have the projects module, especially on the professional version of Sage anyway, at least. I'm trying to think if I have any other questions for you as well. Obviously, you showed some barcode scanning there as well. And moving stock, picking stock for the actual works orders too. I'm assuming it's the same thing with goods in, goods out, from the actual purchase orders or sales orders. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah. So you can, the barcoding can pick up on any transaction within CIM50.
Yeah, and what I would say there as well is if anybody wants to see the sort of shop floor data collection piece on the mobile side, it's kind of difficult to try and put everything in one demonstration, as you can
Yeah.
see, as we're running up to the time here. So if anybody wants to see that one-to-one, or if anybody wants a one-to-one or to discuss exactly how CIM50 will fit in with the actual processes to which you're working with outside of what Martin has shown you, he's given you a very general look at this. So it's up to the likes of ourselves and DB to go through that in specific detail and show you how that would operate as well.
That's it. It's
So
certainly been a whistle stop tour.
yeah.
So
We
hope it
zoomed
wasn't
through
too
there.
quick for people, but it's
Yeah.
just to give you a flavor. But
Well,
reach out to
but as I
Howard and the
say,
team. Yeah.
exactly. And yeah, contact ourselves. I just share some of our own information on screen here, just while we're talking. So if anybody wants to take note and keep in touch with us, like I say, they can talk directly with us, and we can sort of answer those questions and look through anything specific. Other than that, I don't have any other questions unless anybody else wants to throw them up. We can, of course, take questions. We can follow up with you afterwards as well. We can send it on. So please feel free to add anything in the comments. Send it to the email that you see on screen here as well. We will be we took a recording of the actual session here today, which we'll put up on our YouTube channel. There's a bunch of other stuff there that you can have a look at as well around Sage 50 and Sage 200. So feel free to take a look and come back to us as well. Other than that, I'd like to thank you very much, Martin, and thank everybody else here today for sort of coming on this afternoon, taking a look, and hopefully we'll talk to you in the future.
Thank you very much, everyone.
No worries. Thanks again. Take care, guys. Good
Cheers
afternoon.
then. Bye.
Bye-bye.